Love is spiritual, not natural. You ever think about that? This is absolutely miraculous. With love, you get the results now. Hi, I'm Dr. Alex Loyd, and welcome to Deep Water. The topic for today, before I tell you what it is, let me share with you a warning. When I share with you what the topic for today is, some of you are going to click to stop the video and go somewhere else because you're not interested in this. Why? Because you think it's not really a big deal. Why in the world is he talking about this as far as deep water? That's not deep water. That's not any big deal at all. Well, I disagree with you. I think it's a very big deal, and it's one of those hidden secrets that seems like a little thing that can make all the difference. And it's not just every once in a while in a person. It's with most people that I know, my life, almost anyone who's accomplished something great that you can find in the history books, okay? And here's what it is. It is having positive routines in your life that lead you to the life that you want to have, that is your best possible life. Okay? Now, please don't click away yet. Give me a couple of minutes to convince you what a big deal this is. The first one I'm going to mention is a wonderful study out of Harvard, where they found that all geniuses, you hear that? That basically all geniuses, everyone they could find and study, had routines that directly led that person to their outstanding outcomes. And basically they couldn't find a genius who did not do that, at least one who was successful. Every successful genius they found, the common thread was they had routines that kept them on track for outstanding outcome after outstanding outcome until they are looked at as a world changer. And this has been true, according to the Harvard study, in virtually every time period throughout history. Okay? The World Health Organization says that adherence to routines is the most important thing as far as living a healthy life. But it's also the greatest challenge to living a healthy life, because only about 50% of people actually put the routines in place that they need to keep them on track to their outstanding outcome. Only about 50% of people do that, or are able to do that, or however you want to look at it. All right? The other 50% are not able to do it, or they just don't do it, and so they do not reach their outstanding desired outcome. Okay? So which 50% are you in? And I believe those of you who are in the 50% who are not experiencing your best life or close to it, it may very well be because you do not have the routines in place, or you're not adhering to the routines. For me personally, I finished last in my class academically in high school. Last. Okay? I didn't know until the day before graduation in high school and college if they were even going to let me graduate because of my poor academic record. I almost failed every single class unless it was PE or drama or tennis or something like that, okay? Every other academic class, I squeaked by with a C, or maybe even not that good. Until I learned how my mind worked which is different from most people. I'm dyslexic, I'm ADD, ADHD, etc. Even though I was failing so many classes and on the edge of failing almost everything, when they gave me an IQ test, I scored in the genius range, okay? Which made things worse for me. Before they gave me those tests, I got a lot of sympathy. Oh, Alex is trying. He's a good boy. He can learn a trade. Don't be too upset. After the IQ test, it was, you're not trying. Well, I was trying. It's just that my mind works differently. And the thing that did it for me was discovering how my mind works and then putting routines in place to assure that I stay on track in order to achieve the positive outcomes I need, whether that's taking the garbage out or brushing my teeth or taking the right supplements and when to take them during the day, to take time to pray and meditate every day, to take time to write a little bit each day, to take time to spend some time in relationship with God and relationship with people I care about every day, to laugh a little bit every day, to be touched in my heart, maybe even moved to tears every day, all right? And I am the routine king now. Now, this is about 40 years later, but I've got routines for everything, and it really is wonderful for me because it keeps all that stuff off my mind. It makes it simple, and I don't even have to think about it. I just, when something, when that alarm goes off, it's time to take my supplements. And I go over, and here's the ones I take. When that, at that time of day, that's when I go pray and meditate and have an approximate time that I do that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All right? Here's the definition of a routine. A routine is a repeated behavior involving momentary time commitment, greatly reduces your time commitment because it's all scheduled. You don't have to think about it. That requires little thought. A repeated behavior involving momentary time commitment that requires very little thought. What some of the latest research has found that to change a habit that involves eating or drinking takes approximately 99 days on a routine that will be successful at whatever that thing is, at eating more healthy, eating less that's unhealthy, drinking things that are good for you, good clean water instead of like that, as well as like drinking alcohol versus not drinking alcohol, or drinking a minimal amount that is healthy instead of way too much that's unhealthy. It takes about 99 days to change a habit as far as eating and drinking, and the critical element is putting the routines in and sticking to them. It takes 99 days for anything that's not eating and drinking. So to change how you work, to change how you interact with people relationally, to change your anger, takes about 99 days based on the research. But what I've found with my tools, the Healing Codes, Trilogy, Memory Engineering, Rapid Eye Stress Release, etc., is that using those tools and putting the routines in place can create a reliable habit for the positive in about 40 days, not 66 or 99, okay? But the message for this week is, most people I know are always thinking, man, how come I don't get more done? How come I can't do this when I know I want to do that and there's a reward waiting for me at the end? How come I can't quit doing this? And I know if I would quit doing that, there's a reward for me at the end of that. People I know and in my own family are thinking that way all the time. Usually if you're not thinking that way, it's either because you've already figured it out and you are living your best life, or you've tried it, it didn't work, and you've given up. Okay? But I believe if you tried it and given up, you weren't trying the right thing, because the right thing does work. And the message this week is the one thing that might make all the difference in your life, with happiness or sadness, success or failure, your best life or a mediocre life, being stuck or not being stuck, having fabulous relationships versus conflicted relationships. The one thing that might be the linchpin difference in all of those is establishing routines that are positive, that take you to that desired outcome, and sticking to the routines. Now, one of the problems is in the definition of a routine. A repeated behavior involving momentary time commitment that requires little thought. That last section is a quicksand. If you put the routine in place, it's a positive routine that'll take you to a positive outcome, and the time is here to do it, and you start thinking too much, actually kind of debating in your mind whether to do it or not, you are stuck in quicksand. Or you will be stuck in quicksand if you keep thinking about it another 30 seconds or 5 minutes or whatever. And then the old way of doing it grabs hold of you and sucks you back under. And it becomes, I'll change that tomorrow. And then tomorrow never comes. So this week, don't let another week go by. Try putting some routines in place in important areas of your life that will take you to health, to vitality, to great relationships, to success in your career or whatever it is you're working at, how you feel about yourself inside, all of the above. But when the time for the routine comes, don't think about it too much, or you will sink in the quicksand. The definition of a successful routine is it's a repeated behavior involving momentary time commitment with little thought. You start doing a lot of thought and you've just sabotaged the routine, which means the outcome that you had desired. And I'm going to leave this where I started with it. According to Harvard, all geniuses and world changers at every time in history had a common thread, routines that directly led to their outstanding outcomes, and typically one after another throughout their life. Doesn't mean they didn't have any negative things in their life. A lot of them did, and maybe they should have applied routines to that too. But the things that changed the world, the things that were groundbreaking and breakthrough, those tended to come from routines they had put in place and then sticking to those routines until the success was experienced. So try it today. Routines, positive, healthy routines that you stick to and don't challenge when the alarm goes off to do it, may turn around your life in a 180 kind of way pretty doggone quickly. From 40 days to 99 days, based on the research. So 40 to 99 days from now, you could be living a pretty significantly different life if you just get the right routines in place, stick to them, and then don't think about it too much when it's time to do it. Just do it. if you have trouble setting the routine and sticking to it, or when the alarm goes off, whether it's a real alarm or you just know it's time I'm supposed to do that, if you have trouble getting yourself to do it, or if you think too much and start that debate, one thing that's worked really well for Hope and for a lot of clients too, Hope calls it making a deal with herself. For instance, if I sweep the floor, then I can have a piece of chocolate. If I do this filing work that I've been dreading doing, I can sit down and watch a 30-minute show that I enjoy. Harry, my son, has also really benefited from that one in his writing. If I write one page on this thing I'm working on, then I can watch this enjoyable show that I wanted to watch. Or if I write one page on the document I'm working on, then I can go outside and take a walk, or go eat lunch, or go out with a friend, or whatever. But anyway, now I don't do that. I just set the routines and then do it. And Hope says that drives her crazy about me sometimes, that I can do that when she feels like she can't. But for her, the making a deal with herself works great. And I would do that. And then once you've gotten to the 40 to 99 days, when it becomes a positive habit, a routine that's taking you toward success in some area of your life, then you can usually let the reward part go. If you need it, you can bring it back, but usually then you can let it go when you've still got the routine. So if you have trouble, try that. Also, you might Google reality therapy, I believe by Dr. Glasser. It's a therapy that's been extremely successful for teenagers and adolescents, but I found it works well for anyone. And it's basically to build in a system in your life of rewards and consequences for certain behaviors. All right? So if there's a behavior you want, you get rewarded if you establish the positive routine and stick to it to conclusion. If you don't stick to it, or if you think too much and decide not to do it even though it is time, there's a consequence for that. And as long as you follow through with the rewards and consequences, 90+% of the time, you will come out of it 100 days later, or however long it takes, with positive new habits. The key is sticking to the rewards and the consequences, and that's where it's hard as an adult. You have to enforce the consequences on yourself if you don't do it, or it won't work. When working with kids, a parent can do that. But using it with adults, you as an adult, unless you give someone else the authority to enforce it on you, and you better be careful about that one. That could affect your friendship. But the best way is you enforce it on yourself, both the rewards and the consequences, and that will stimulate you internally to establish the routine, stick with it, not think too much, and come out with the new positive outcome. So I would Google that, reality therapy, Dr. Glasser, and how that works, and you can build that system in. If you can't just do the deal with yourself and have that work well enough, this is sort of taking that to extreme and building a whole system, and then that should work. But regardless of how you do it, routines can, again, be that secret thing that seems so little, but is the linchpin difference in oftentimes the most important areas of your life. Thank you so much and have a wonderful, blessed day.